Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Be Her Village podcast. My name is Caitlin LaGreas, and I'm the founder of Be Her Village. Be Her Village is an online gift registry for what moms really need: support, not stuff. We're talking to providers and people who care for moms in their pregnancy, their birth, their postpartum. We're talking to real moms and hearing their stories and really just getting into all the good stuff that comes along with new parenthood. So check us out, tune in, and let us know what you think.
Hey, happy Sunday. This is Janelle with the Be Her Village podcast. In this episode, Caitlin is talking to Carolina Stone, who is the pregnancy and postpartum coach with Street Parking. Street Parking is an online community for people who like to work out at home, or maybe they can't get to a gym. They have limited equipment, limited space, and limited time. So Street Parking is an online community where you get a workout sent to you that you can participate in and share in the virtual community. And it's a really awesome program because people are participating in this around the world, and it's a super tight-knit community of like-minded people. And Carolina is the pregnancy and postpartum coach. So she's working to create programs and space for those who are, newly pregnant from, sometimes people in the Facebook group are announcing their pregnancies there, to those who are postpartum and trying to get back into their own fitness routines. So in this episode, we get to talk through Carolina's own motherhood experience, how she came to be working with Street Parking, and how her own experience has influenced the way that she does things within Street Parking. And I'll link all of the information that Carolina shares as far as joining in to her groups as well in the show notes. So it was great to hear from Carolina and learn about what she's been doing within her community. And it's just great to listen to two people talk who are, using their own experiences to help make the experiences for the new moms and families a little bit better. So enjoy this episode with Carolina Stone of Street Parking.
Hi, I am Carolina Stone, and I am the pregnancy and postpartum coach for Street Parking.
Wonderful. So I guess to kick this off, we should talk about what Street Parking is and how it started and how you ended up there.
Yeah. So Street Parking is an online fitness community that offers programming for people with limited space, equipment, time, experience, pretty much any reason that you may need to customize or modify a program. We have options for that. It also offers lots of options for people looking to, really deepen their fitness routine, expanding into anything from endurance programming to Olympic lifting to more bodybuilding style movements to yoga, stretching, mobility, that kind of thing, which is actually how I came to join Street Parking. Street Parking was created by Miranda and Julian Alcaraz almost exactly 5 years ago. And a few years ago, I joined Street Parking. I was thinking of trying to conceive. My husband and I owned our own CrossFit affiliate, and I was just looking for some programming to do on my own outside of our gym because I needed just a little bit more personal space, a little more freedom, a little less pressure, I think.
It's interesting. I'm listening to this thinking, wow, you owned the gym and yet you were seeking a separate program. But I also know, being in this birth world now, right? Like this, I'm like, where do I go for a pap smear? Like, which is a crazy thought. But I'm like, midwives are my colleagues now. So it's like an interesting dynamic of where do I go for my own care? Because while I love and respect so
Mhm.
many of the midwives around and birth workers around my area, where do you go for your own stuff? It sounds like you found yourself in a similar position of like, I have my own gym, but it's work. How do you go and find your own fitness?
Yeah, it's work. And I was also just looking for a way to not make, let's say, performance or intensity my main focus. I wanted to really tune into my own body's um, needs because I felt like I was at the beginning of this journey. And I was at the beginning of this journey that was so like intimate and personal. And I was kind of seeking some more time alone. So I joined Street Parking as a member to give me some programming options that I could do at home with my own equipment and my own time, at the intensity that I wanted or needed, in that type of space. I joined them just as a member. And at one point, Miranda posted on the members' Facebook group that she was looking for a yoga instructor. I also have been a yoga instructor for a long time, and I happened to be online at that moment that she was looking. I also happened to have just polished up and updated my resume for teaching. I'd finished a lot of additional trainings and certifications, and I was just looking to update it. So I said, "Yep, I'm a yoga teacher." And she said, "Great, cool. Can you send me your resume?" And I sent it over to her, and she said, "This looks great. Do you mind putting together a demo video of some yoga for our type of membership, like less full length sequences and more mobility, stretching, warm up, cool down videos, that type of thing." So I put one together and I said, my husband's also a yoga teacher. We also own a CrossFit affiliate. And she said, "Oh, wow. This is meant to be. Can you guys both do one?" Anyway, one thing led to another, and we ended up joining Street Parking initially to work as yoga instructors, and we created a library of yoga videos for them, and then that continued to go on for the both of us, my husband and myself.
I love how that kind of evolved. And I also love how you were just kind of right time, right place. Like there's so much trust sometimes that what is supposed to happen will, right? And you're just like where you need to be and the opportunity comes to you. That's like that sense of things just
Yeah.
falling into your lap, right? That's really beautiful.
Yeah, and for sure. And I think that, my husband and I talk about that often. However, there's also a large part of that is having been prepared. We spent many, many years um, training, preparing, learning, growing, making so many mistakes on our own and together, and with our own business, and growing and learning. So then when the opportunity came, yes, we were absolutely at the right place in the right time. We were also
Right.
prepared.
It wasn't pure luck. It was like it was right time, right place with years and years of effort put in.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. So tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about, I mean, I want to talk about what you're doing with parenthood and supporting mothers throughout their parenthood journeys, but I also want to hear about how you went from yoga instructor to now sort of like the motherhood person for street parking. What did your motherhood experience look like and feel like? And how has that colored your approach now?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So initially, I started learning about pre and postnatal yoga because there was a need for it within the yoga studio and community that I was teaching in Los Angeles, and also for our own gym, for our own CrossFit affiliate. So I started educating myself on that to be able to serve our clients, our members, and to feel confident in how I was able to support that population and our families, because really they are our friends and our family. I wanted to be able to take care of them. And so I was approaching it and learning from the coach's side, the coach's perspective. And not too long after that, we decided that it was time for us to start a family. And it seemed so great. It seemed like the perfect little blend. I had this great, you know, the space in the yoga community and in the CrossFit world, and I had street parking, and I had my pre and postnatal fitness training and education, and I was applying it all to my own experience. And for a lot of my pregnancy, that was really exciting, and I just was in this kind of like, I don't know, kind of like a romantic space for myself, because I was like really intuitively training and eating and learning and making all these decisions that I thought would serve me and my family for a long time. And then, like everyone always says, there's just some things that you cannot predict or control. And while I planned for and prepared, and in some ways got the birth experience that I thought I wanted, it was also challenging and frankly traumatic in ways that I never imagined it would be. I birthed in a birth center. It was unmedicated, and I ended up my baby. She was stuck. Her hands were up by her face. Her chin was up, so like there was a larger.
For anyone who's listening, I want to hear this whole story. For anyone who's listening, typically babies tuck their chin and they present the kind of the crown of their head, which is the smallest presenting. And when your chin comes up,
Mhm.
you can imagine how much larger that is. And every millimeter counts when we're birthing babies. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. So she had two
yeah.
hands up.
Two
Wow.
hands, yeah, and her chin up, and it all started really well. I think, I'd even at one point, I think I got to the birth center by 8 a.m. and by noon we were at 9 or 10 centimeters, and I thought, like, great. I literally had the thought, I am going to be able to go home and have pizza for
I
dinner
love that you're
tonight.
thinking about that at 10 centimeters.
Yeah,
I have a prize,
I
Carolina.
that
I
was
have a
like,
prize.
yeah. So, but then things just really slowed down, and I ended up pushing for a very, very, very long time. It was over 5 hours. And, at one point, they said, if there's no progress in the next 30 minutes, we're going to transfer you. And I was totally open to being transferred to the hospital. But within those 30 minutes, we made some progress. There was just another one of those instances of right place at the right time. The head midwife happened to be stopping by the birth center. And actually, this is kind of a funny, only in LA type of situation. There was a table read going on in the community room upstairs,
Okay.
and Amy Poehler was holding a table read of one of her scripts. And
Get out of town, up right above where you're giving birth.
yeah, and it was actually like
That
the
is
community room where I'd done all of my birth education classes and everything.
that is
Um,
very LA, and also I am like a huge Amy Poehler fan,
I
so I'm a
know.
little bit fangirling about your birth right now.
Well, basically, in some ways, I can kind of say like Amy Poehler was pretty much like my midwife.
Pretty
So
much. Yeah, no,
basically,
that's amazing. I love it.
yeah. But so they needed something in the room, and the head midwife and the owner of the studio had to come by, and she stopped by my room and she said, "Hey, like, do you mind if I step in and help out?" And I was like, "Yes, please." She was a large part of why I chose that birth center. And she said, "Okay, hold on just 1 second. Amy Poehler's upstairs and she needs something. So I'm going to go help her, and then I'll be right back down. And you're going to have this baby and here." So she came back down. I did have the baby there. But it was a big, big struggle. And, I think because of the extensive pushing and all of the struggle getting her out, I had a severe pubic symphysis, the separation of my pubic bones. They were separated and lifted. My uterus was exhausted. I had a hemorrhage postpartum. And I think just all of that, left me in a place where I was broken. Like my body was, I could not stand upright. I couldn't walk unassisted. I was,
That pubic symphysis separation I mean, I've had a very slight condition of that during my third pregnancy, but I know people, I just want to like
mm,
pause on that so people understand like how debilitating it is, or maybe was for you. Like you can't walk for
yeah,
weeks without, or maybe period, but if you are able to without excruciating pain, that puts labor, it's like not even, labor is like nothing compared to this, like it's a shredding of your pelvis almost. It's what it feels like.
yeah,
It's really, really intense.
yeah.
I can't imagine what that felt like to be in this position of now trying to care for a baby and also be so injured yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, so I and so weak, because I'd lost so much blood and I wasn't, it was just it was like I was taken way down. Um
Mm.
and I didn't quite realize the extent of it until I got home the next day. And yeah, and I couldn't stand unassisted. One, because my pelvis, my hips wouldn't extend fully, and also because I would just get so weak that I would get dizzy and almost pass out. Um,
Mm.
and that was the start of becoming a parent. And as prepared as I was, as educated as I thought I was, as informed as I thought I was, I there were these things that I could not predict or control. And yeah, so I think I learned in that experience that I think that there's a I don't know, maybe some misguided information, or this kind of concept that you can train for birth, or that you can work out hard enough to have an easy labor, or that you can do enough yoga or meditation or whatever to prepare for birth. I had people tell me like, oh, well, you're this yoga teacher, you're this Zen person or whatever, like you're going to be totally fine. It's going to be fine. And I I obviously knew that that wasn't true, but there was maybe a little piece of me that had some unrealistic expectations of my level of fitness or whatever, being in helping me through that. And to some extent, maybe it did. I think the the biggest reason for people being transferred or the number one reason for people being transferred from a birth center to a hospital is usually fatigue,
Exhaustion,
exhaustion.
absolutely.
Exactly.
It's so rare that people get transferred for medical emergencies, that something's
Right.
wrong. And it's very rare, even in hospital births. I'm just speaking from my own doula experience now, that people opt for an epidural for the pain.
Mm,
It's actually most of the time, it's the pain is the pain. It is what it
mm.
is. Every contraction's kind of the same as the last. It is the hours and hours and hours of
Yeah.
them. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And it is, so that physical fitness certainly helps, but I'm so glad that you're touching on this. There is this like toxic idea that we can prepare ourselves out of a hard birth, or that we can, if we do the right things, good things happen to us in birth, and if we do the wrong things, bad things happen to us.
Yeah.
And that's just not how birth
Yeah.
works. And that doesn't discount that it's great to prepare your body, it's great to prepare your mind, it's great to get educated, but you can do all the right things and still have a
Right.
really hard
Yeah,
time.
there's even a piece of me that wonders, like, I had a lot of mobility. I had a lot of strength. At my birth, I did every position. I was lunging, squatting, kneeling, hands and knees, rebozo, tub, birthing stool, birthing ball. I did all of it because I could. And I had the stamina and the endurance. I was not exhausted. I was I was confused, I was frustrated, but I wasn't exhausted. And part of me wonders if maybe I mean, and there's no really purpose in going down this road, but like,
I'm getting chills because I feel like I know what you're
yeah,
going to
but
say.
maybe
Oh,
had I just been transferred and had the C-section, I wouldn't have had this 2-year journey of healing physically and emotionally, and like just such a difficult start to parenthood. But that's not the road that I took.
it's the what if game.
Yeah.
That's what I call it anyway. I don't think it's a technical name, but that what if, the like questioning, what if we had made different choices? What if we had done something differently? Is, for me, it's the hardest part of any birth. It is just the questioning, because there's no right answer, and it's like unfair to play with
Yeah.
ourselves, because what if there's a million answers, and there's no way of knowing that if you had gone for the C-section, some other
Of
horrible
course.
thing would have happened, and you would have been sitting here thinking, what if I had just pushed on? What if I had continued? What if I had been more fit?
Exactly.
That there's, yeah, that's really difficult, Carolina. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Each time it's a little bit more empowering, and sharing with other mothers. It's like it's really helpful to share about it. So thank you.
It's it's really my pleasure. I had a difficult first birth as well, totally unexpected. I went into it not as prepared as I probably should have been, although I took classes and I thought I was prepared. I hired the right team, I thought, and I ended up with an induction and an emergency C-section and a wild case of postpartum anxiety that I didn't even know about until I had my second, and I didn't have it, right?
Wow.
I just thought this was my new way of existing, was to be panicked about my child, I thought this was love. But it's interesting how, I mean, so he just celebrated, my first baby just celebrated his ninth
Oh
birthday,
my
so it's been
God.
9 years, and the way that I feel about his birth changes every time I tell the
Mhm.
story, and it changes every year, and it changes every new baby I have. It's this evolving thing, and I love that you're creating space for yourself for that to change for you, because a lot of times people will feel blissful as soon as they have their baby, because you have a new
Mhm.
baby and you're looking at your baby and you're filled with oxytocin and there's just nothing but bliss. And then it's when that kind of subsides that you're left with, ooh, this isn't feeling so great, and it can be really hard to reflect back on that. You have taken this really hard experience, though, and not just done the healing and done the work, but you've now taken that experience and used it to help others. Can you tell me a little bit about what that healing looked like and how you use your experience?
Thank you. Yeah. So I was at the time working as the pre and postnatal coach for street parking, and I was coaching members through another fitness or postpartum fitness program, and I was using that program myself. But there was a part of me that felt like, because I'd become so connected to the street parking community, it felt a little bit like I was, well, disconnected and a little isolated while using this like outside program. And while it's great and awesome and a wonderful option for people who are looking for that, I was in a place where I needed and I wanted to really connect with my village, and street parking and the street parking moms.
So you didn't want to have to go, when you're talking about another program like the rehab for your pelvic floor and for your pubic symphysis. So that was what you felt like, I'm like missing out on my community here, because
Yeah.
this is who I normally
Yeah, it'd be
interact with.
like, I go to this gym. I'm a member of this gym, and then I have a baby and I have this like really, like, my body is doing all these crazy things, and now I have to go to this like other gym where I don't really know anyone, and they speak a different language and nothing feels familiar, and I'm already in a place where everything is new and uncertain, and it just feels kind of weird, and I saw an opportunity with street parking to change that. So I hired a consultant, a women's health specialist, and we created the street parking fourth trimester bundle. And this was, I wanted to create a program or a resource really that would take someone from birth all the way through their transition back to the regular street parking programming. So we started with the recovery program, which is intended, or it's designed for you to start as early after birth as you're comfortable. That could be the next day, it could be 3 weeks later, it could be whatever you're comfortable with. And the way, or the reason that we did that was because quite often people are told, don't do anything until the 6-week mark. But that can be very difficult for someone who, uses fitness for their mental health, or for someone who has lived their entire life moving. And also, the reality is, even things as simple as relaxing, intentionally relaxing, breathing, some, gentle mobility, wrist circles, neck circles, arm circles, those can be very healing physically and emotionally. And that's what we wanted to offer. So it's 4 weeks. It's not an exercise program. I'm not trying to cheat the system in any way, but the very first session is 10 minutes of breathing. And you can do it laying down in bed or sitting on the edge of your couch. And hopefully it's an opportunity to just start to reconnect to this body, and to say, hi, what have we been through? I see you, I feel you, like part of it is actually touching your belly, which can be huge and hard and scary. And it's breathing. And there is, some rehabilitative qualities to that. Some of the breathing muscles include your diaphragm and your pelvic floor, and they make up this system of your core. So while we're not doing plank holds, the breathing that we're doing is starting to bring a connection to your core. And it just gently starting that healing process. So that's the recovery program. The recovery program also includes like videos from some of the street parking coaches that I really wanted to include, because I just wanted people to be able to see the familiar faces. Like if you're already a street parking member, it's videos from coaches that they know. And it's, like Coach Miranda saying, hey guys, I see you. I know you're really eager to get back into your gym and to start lifting heavy, but just hang in there a little bit longer. Try to be patient. It's worth it in the long run. Or a video from Coach Molly, our nutrition coach, saying like, just focus on drinking enough water. Or maybe try to eat your next meal sitting down, or maybe try to get a few more veggies in your day, rather than trying to think of like, oh, I need to dive into counting macros or doing any kind of like template. It's like, hey, permission and a reminder from our coaches to focus on just healing.
That sounds so powerful, Carolina, for it to be coming from those same coaches that I would imagine in other areas of street parking are like, hit it, go hard, do this, we'll support you in all of your goals. To have that message coming from within your own community, rather than feeling like you're missing out, rather than feeling like you have to disconnect. It's so beautiful. I get tears in my eyes thinking about the fact that you've created this within street parking, so that new mothers and new parents can have that gentle ease and that permission to be, and that permission to recover and rest, which is arguably one of almost harder sometimes than moving and working out, is just the resting and the stillness is so difficult, and that you're honoring that and giving tools and giving messages of support and including people in and drawing them back in. Just because you had a baby, just because you've been through this thing, doesn't mean you have to leave
Mm-hmm.
us. We're actually here to support you through
Yep.
that. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it. I do think that for a lot of people, learning how to rest and learning how to be still and shifting their identity from fitness is really really tough, maybe the most difficult part. So hopefully this gives some like tangible ways to help them adapt, you know, during that time. And then the next part of the program is the core rehab program, and it is 4 weeks of programming. It includes core and pelvic floor rehabilitation, as well as actual street parking programming that we took and we scaled way back. So week 4, you'll see workouts that are very similar to our street parking shift programming, which is just a slightly less complex version of the normal daily workout. And so at week 4, you should feel prepared for the following week to transition into the street parking programming. And leading up to that, each week is just a very gradual progression to help prepare you and also to be like a checkpoint. So you can say, wow, you know, actually, I thought that getting down on the ground to do a burpee was going to be simple enough, but actually, that's not my range of motion doesn't allow me to go that far right now. So and we give you all of these examples of ways to gradually progress there. So you know how to customize or modify moving forward, and you feel prepared for the next phase. And it also includes some gentle maintenance, some stretching, because you know a lot of the stress and tension of becoming a new parent, learning how to feed, whether it's from a bottle or the breast, is it's a lot.
It is a lot. Like, it's all
Yeah,
consuming.
exactly.
So your shoulders, I
I
just saw you
know.
like sit up straight. I
Yeah.
remember like just hunched over, and I remember I threw my neck out when my baby was like, my first baby was 7 weeks. I went to go shower and shampoo, and I like my neck seized up. I went to the chiropractor same day, and I was like, I've been like this for 2 months. I don't know what else to do, because you're just hunched, you're trying to latch, you're trying to watch, and all of your attention goes to this tiny little being that you're trying to help survive and thrive, and then it's so easy to forget about
Yeah.
yourself and
Yeah.
all of
So
that.
it's like 5 minutes at the end of each session, which, you know, you might not otherwise remember to do or feel like maybe you do your pelvic floor exercises, but then don't pay attention to this tension that's building in your shoulder or whatever. And then also some of those stretches can be helpful for the pelvic floor. I think sometimes we think that symptoms like, you know, incontinence or urgency, frequency, those kinds of things might be related to a weak pelvic floor. And sometimes it can be related to holding too much tension. You know, we want to like over kegel our way to a strong pelvic floor, managing those symptoms, when really, you know, some child's pose and happy baby and straddle stretches can also be really helpful in allowing the pelvic floor to move at its own full range of motion and its full function and capacity. So some of those things it's all intentionally designed to help the entire body as a whole. And then we've got this fun little accessory program, the Suns Out, Guns Out Mamas Edition. It's based on the regular street parking accessory programming, but designed with the early postpartum recovery process in mind. So it is an opportunity to just put your hands on a couple of light dumbbells and do some movements that feel a little bit more familiar and less, remedial, I guess. Sometimes those pelvic floor or, you know, PT exercises can just feel so kind of boring, and we want to I just want to do some, I don't know, bicep curls or whatever it is. So we have that, and it's just meant to be fun and a supplement to the regular rehab exercises. And then the last part of this bundle is a rebuild guide. That's an ebook that includes anything from some general information on postpartum hormones, nutrition, pelvic health, and then at the end, we have a timeline and a guide. It's a really general timeline, but it can help you understand how to continue to gradually progress over the first year postpartum so that it's not just like going from, rehab to, well now what? When do I start to run? When can I run that 5K that I wanted to sign up for? When can I start doing, sit-ups or handstand push-ups or whatever it is that you might want to do? We break down actual street parking programming over the course of the first year by, a couple of months at a time and show you how you may want to customize and modify and what milestones you might want to look out for before adding on.
I'm so excited that you put this together. And I'm just thinking about like the 6-week visit, how beforehand it's total abstention, don't do anything, which is not really meeting anybody's needs. And then there's, okay, full blown, you can go back, you can run a marathon at 6 weeks in one day after you've had the appointment. So I love this gentle recognition of how long this recovery and rebuilding process is for us. I'm thinking about Janelle, who you've met and is also a member of Street Parking, and her daughter's birthday is today. It's her second birthday, and on Saturday it's Janelle's first CrossFit competition that she's participated in, and I'm going. My whole family's going. We're just going to cheer her on so hard because there's something just so beautiful about that return on her own terms, and there was no urgency or stress surrounding it. It's just she's been working at it, and there's just something beautiful about working with our bodies, and it's so individual for each of us, because some of us, not me, and apparently not you, the babies fall out and we all go back to, and like it's really easy, So those people have their own journey, and then there's others of us that are just kind of finding our way, and there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be obstacles, and giving ourselves the grace and the tools and the community to work through that is just such a beautiful thing. And I want to mention, Carolina, the Street Parking Facebook community, because I'm like always commenting and posting when I have something to offer in that group, because it's such a beautiful group of people who have this like-minded, they're all part of Street Parking, and so it's a community that you're building out in such a great way, and that's so supportive for not just the postpartum time but for the pregnancy time.
Thank you. Yeah it's it's kind of this like funny special mom group over there, and I'm not really a part of a lot of those, but I see comments from other people that this one is just really supportive and encouraging and welcoming, and it doesn't get into any of the like, I don't know, catty judgmental stuff. And I think that hopefully that has a lot to do with the people in the community and the focus and the priorities, and we're all a part of Street Parking because health, fitness, and just balance in life is important. It's not like the fitness isn't the main focus all the time. We actually want to make it really manageable, and take away all of the like fuss around it so that you can live your life and do all the other awesome things you want to do. So we have that in common, and it's nice. It's so nice to be able to see, the moms move from pregnancy to postpartum and postpartum back to pregnancy, and to be able to communicate and connect with each other through that, for sure. And I think it's important to say that, like, well, first of all, I always encourage women to seek out help and support from specialists, experts like pelvic floor physical therapists or qualified, physiotherapists, osteopath, chiropractic, functional medicine, all of those types of specialists, because there are things that our program is not going to be able to address, and while it can help lay a very strong foundation, you may need additional help. You may need additional support. And I also am always happy to help you find those resources, help connect you with someone local or virtual or whatever we can do. If you are interested in that, I will do my best to connect you with that. I also know that not everyone is interested in taking the 8 to 12 to 1 or 2 years that I normally recommend. Some people want to go into it much faster, and that's fine. I will help connect them with the tools and resources and coaches to help them meet their own goals. But if you are looking for something that is like a general foundation, that is, a moderate pace, then this could be a really great option. And yeah, I like, my main priority is helping connect people to the tools and resources that they need. Whether it's my program or another one, I don't really care. I just want to help you find what you need.
And I think that comes through in everything that you're doing, and what you are building and have built already is so beautiful. And I've told you this before, but I am in awe of what you're doing. I think we have such similar goals of getting people the support they need. And it doesn't have to be from us. It just getting the people in touch with the resources, because the resources exist, and it's a shame if anybody goes without the support they need because they don't know how to get in touch with it. So I think you're doing wildly important and impactful work, and I'm so grateful to be connected with you as we both grow our communities and help each other out and help new moms along the way. I would love for you to share with us how people can be in touch with you and how they can get involved with street parking. And if somebody is listening to this thinking, oh, I need that postpartum bundle, what are their next steps?
You can connect with me directly, mamas at streetparking.com, MAMAS at streetparking.com. And like I said, I'm happy to connect you with resources, programs, tools, whatever it is that you're looking for. Street parking, you can check out a regular street parking membership, a monthly membership. It's $19 a month for the very general membership. And with that, you get access to all of our online programming and content. As a member, you get to join the Facebook groups, the Pregnant and Postpartum Moms Facebook group. We have tons of resources on our website for pregnancy, birth, and beyond. The postpartum bundle, if you are not currently a street parking member, is available on the streetparking.com website. It includes a three-month street parking membership. So you could either join street parking without the bundle and just check it out and see if that's enough for what you're looking for, or you could buy the bundle and have access to the postpartum content like the core rehab program and the Suns Out Guns Out Mamas and the rebuild guide. If you're currently a street parking member, there's options for you to buy those individual programs a la carte. So there's a lot of ways to get in. My general recommendation is just to check out the street parking Instagram page, because we give samples of our workouts. You get to hear and see videos and, real life content from our members. And we're always sharing information on the public street parking Instagram page. And that's a great way to get a feel for what you might be able to expect from being a member.
Wonderful. Well, I highly encourage everybody to go and check out street parking and this postpartum bundle, because it is such an amazing community, such a great program. And thank you, Carolina, so much for joining me today and having this conversation, and for everything that you're doing for the motherhood community.
Thank you so much. It was another instance of right time, right place in connecting with you and Janelle and finding Be Her Village. I really, really love it. And it's exciting, to think of all of the families that we might be able to help and support through the work that we're doing.
Absolutely.
All right, that was our interview with Carolina Stone of Street Parking. I've linked all of her info in the in the show notes. So if you'd like to take a look at street parking or learn more about Carolina and the work that she's doing, you can check that out there. And I also want to let everybody know that the tickets for the Detroit Motherhood Expo are now live. So if you are a person in Detroit or the Detroit area who wants to come see us in person, check out the motherhood businesses in the community, hear some great speakers, and just have a day of pampering. The tickets for families are on sale now, and they're $15 a piece. So $15 gets your whole family in. And we also still have some spots left for providers in the area. So if you are looking to get yourself out there, and you're part of the motherhood business world in Detroit or the surrounding areas, we still have some space for you to have a table, to get your name out there, to meet the people in your community. And all of this is taking place on Sunday, October 24th at Shed 5 Market in Detroit. And we're so excited to see people in person. And obviously we're going to be keeping track of what's going on with COVID and all of the stipulations and all of that. So we're going to keep things as safe as possible. And so we're excited to meet everybody in person. So to learn more about that, I'm going to link everything below in the show notes for the expo. And you can also find out more about everything that's happening by checking out our Instagram page. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Be Her Village podcast. Have a wonderful day.